It's really easy to just say like, I'm really confident or you should be confident, but it's not an easy thing to fake. So how do we get that confidence? How do we obtain it? So mine comes down to preparation. So if I know that I have taken care of the things that I need to take care of that week and I know that I checked my boxes and did what I know that I need to do in order to be successful, then that type of confidence that gives me, like, I know I don't care who's on the mound. Like, when I go in, I'm like, "I worked harder than you that week. I'm prepared. If you throw me the best pitch of your life, I'm gonna be able to hit it with authority."
Welcome to the Car Ride Home podcast. I'm honored today. One of my favorite hitters of all time is joining us in the Car Ride Home. Amanda Lorenz, let me make sure I tried to shorten all your stats here, but currently a professional player with Athletes Unlimited, a former #2 overall pick, 4-time All-American at the University of Florida from 2016 to 2019. There were so many records, but the one that you have at Florida, the 406 batting average, just jumps off the chart at me. And also a co-host currently of the D1 Softball podcast. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Amanda, welcome to
Cool.
the Car Ride Home.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we start every podcast the same way. We got to set the stage. It is the Car Ride Home. So very important question. You're in charge. What kind of music are we listening to?
I like the country jams, and I like whatever the radio has on usually. So I've been liking like Spotify playlists. I'm not like a my own DJ. I don't like have my own playlist. So I like to let other people handle that for me. But yeah, I like country. Yeah.
Okay. You can control the music in our car then. Next most important, where are we eating on the car ride home?
Oh gosh. Um well, when I think of the car ride home, I always think of like the long drives with my dad coming home from Orange County. So usually we were pulling off at some fast food restaurant, unfortunately, just trying to get a quick bite and get home as fast as possible. But if I had my pick, then it would be like a Chipotle, um, maybe a Cava. I love a Cava. So if Cava's on the way, that's what I'm choosing.
I'm taking to like Cava has been a more popular car ride home favorite recently.
Oh, so good.
Well, you already said it, and the reason, honestly, why we wanted to call this the car ride home is because it is such a relatable moment that we all spent. Whether travel ball days or college days or pro days. For you, when I say car ride home, what's the first thing that comes to mind in regards to maybe one of the most memorable, whether it was like something that your parents said or after a moment, but what's the most memorable car ride home that you can think of?
Gosh, I don't know that I have one specifically. Like, I had so many, and all of my car ride homes were so long because I commuted a good ways to go play down for the Batbusters. So I just remember being in the car for a really long time and having fun with my dad and joking around. And, my mom was there a lot too, obviously. But yeah, I just remember like weekdays going down for hitting late at night and driving home late, having fun, spending time with my dad. I fell asleep a lot. But even like just got married in December and my dad talked a lot about how he misses our car rides home. So nostalgic for sure.
I love that. I love that. What was that like? I was gonna say, because there's probably a lot of kids, I myself did that. I've had to commute to practice. Do you remember what that looked like? At how many days a week were you going? How far were you going? Were you doing schoolwork? Like, can you paint the picture of the car rides for us?
Yeah, so I was going one day like during the week. So I would leave like right when school ended and take that drive through LA traffic and either get to a fielding class or do some work. At the time it was EM was there at Mike's facility, and then I would get home, gosh, like 10, 11 at night, which I was doing. I usually would do my homework on the way there to get it done with because I would get home so late. And then I was there Saturdays and Sundays. So just making it about 3 days a week, but only one day, like, post school, so most of the time I was at home, but, Yeah, it was 3 days a week through the traffic. I don't know how my parents did it. Like, at the time, it sounds like yeah, like, we did and now that I'm, like, getting, like, grown, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that was, like, a huge, huge sacrifice," and I'm so, so thankful.
It's a big commitment, right? That they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
to do that. So after a game, was there a difference of your parents, of mom or dad, and what they would say to you? So curious of how the Lorenz family was, after games, after tournaments on that car ride.
Yeah, my mom was like the same every single time, whether I went 4 for 4, 0 for 4. She was like, "Oh, you did so great." I'm like, "No, mom, I didn't. Like, I didn't." And she's like, "No, you look so great and your hair looked great." And I like, she was just always, like, happy and just so she was so consistent. And my dad, for the most part, believe it or not, he was like, we didn't talk a bunch unless it was, like, multiple games in a row of me not doing well, then it would, like he would kind of, like, blow up in the car for a second, like, "What are you doing?" You know? But, like, for the most part, I feel like he would get it out with the other parents of, like, "What am I doing?" That he would, like, zone in for the car ride home to, like, leave that out there, and because he knows that I would beat myself up enough, and I didn't need him as well. Um, so I only remember, like, 2 or 3 times probably in my whole, like, high school career of my dad being like, "You need to get your stuff together." So I'm definitely thankful for that, 99% of the time I had parents that were just happy to be there for me and spend time with me, and, I was my worst critic when I wasn't doing well, so I knew that they would give me a second to kind of decompress and they weren't gonna add fuel to the fire, so, yeah, I'm so thankful that we had so much time and so many meals and so many, hours in the car of spending quality time together, and my sister would get dragged along too.
I'm sure she loved that as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
How many
Her
siblings do you
ideal
have?
weekend for sure.
Yeah, let's go watch Amanda play softball again. And Aaliyah Andrews told a very similar story about her mom and like, "Well, you looked so good out there. You looked beautiful." That's important. It's important.
Yeah, it really in their eyes, it really is.
Okay, let's go way back in the day because with the Alliance, so many of our players are young players, probably in the middle of their travel ball journey. But go back even before, because we are going to talk about you being a bat buster. But before that, do you remember when you were first introduced to the game and what that looked like? Do you even remember the first team that you played on back in the day?
Yeah, so I was just a crazy kid with a lot of energy, and so my parents signed me up for softball. I was super competitive, so they were trying to get me to kind of channel that energy positively. And so signed me up for T-ball. I was on the Blue Angels. And yeah, I remember like it just being fun and running fast and doing something cool. I used to play wiffle ball and stuff out with, like, my neighbors, and I had a lot of neighbors were boys and older, and so I would and they were, God bless them, so patient with me, my crazy self of throwing tantrums if I wouldn't win,
I don't
and,
believe that.
they were yeah, they were so great, and so I think finally my parents were like, "Okay, let's get her, like, to try and, like, learn how to control her emotions a little bit." And so, yeah, I remember just loving it from the start. It was always like softball season was always so much fun for me. I never felt like, oh, like I don't want to go to practice or I don't want to miss out on this party or sleepover. Like I loved softball. Like that was truly where I felt like most like myself.
I I think I saw or heard when we were talking last time that you started in 7th grade with the Batbusters, which nowadays
Yeah.
is crazy late, right? Do you remember the
Yeah.
moment of when you were playing locally and when you and your family started to talk about, okay, like what's next? What's out there? Let's take that next step.
Yeah, so I kind of in 6th grade was on, like, kind of a hybrid team of a local team that played some out of town tournaments, some competitive tournaments, and I think, like, when I was competing against I think one time we had played a Batbuster team, and probably that was probably the switch with my parents of, like, "Okay, she can compete with with the higher caliber teams, like, let's if she really wants to do this, like, let's do it. And I think that those conversations were kind of happening, where I wasn't aware of them. Like I was just playing softball. And then after that season ended, like my parents were like, okay, like I think we should start to look at like some other competitive teams. Like we might have to make the jump for you to go down to Orange County. And I was like, okay, like sounds good. Um, let's do it. And I was just like, like they were really good. So let's play with them. And so we went online and I think it was like Hay Bucket or something,
Oh,
like
yeah.
looking at like um the tryouts, and we found like Batbuster Snow, who's coached by Craig Snow. We actually played against them. That was my first team that I played against when I was in 6th grade of like the big Batbuster team. And my dad was like, "Let's do it. Like, let's try out." I was like, "Okay, great." Like, we signed up for the tryout and all excited. And then, like, we were like, "Gosh, when was that tryout?" And we go back on Hay Bucket and we look it up and we found Batbuster Ray's tryout, thinking that it was the same thing. We thought all the Batbusters, it was the same. So I showed up to the wrong tryout and they're like, "You didn't fill out anything." And I was like, "Oh, okay, like, but I'm here." And so then I tried out for the wrong Batbuster team, ended up being like the most amazing experience. I was on that team with Alyssa Palomino and Folly of You and
Oh,
Kaylee
wow.
Weingartner, just like some absolute legends, like that I just stumbled upon this team with and got offered a spot. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm on the team. And then a week later, we found out, like, got an email of a confirmation of the Batbuster Snow tryout. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, we went to the wrong tryout, but like on another team now. So it was actually like, we didn't know what we were doing, just looked up Batbusters and and found, a tryout to go to. But we ended up winning the national championship, ASA in Bloomington, Indiana, and ended up being like, I just fell in love with softball, like, more than ever that year, just being around these, like, really, really competitive athletes who took it so seriously was something, like, I had never been around before, and it made me so much better, so much better. So just constantly was craving how can I get better? Who can I learn from? And, that was the start for me, but just kind of a funny story, like, we had no idea what we were doing and just stumbled upon, like, this amazing team. And then in 8th grade, I, started playing for Mike Stith, and that's when a lot of the Batbuster Snow girls, I ended up being it was like a few of us from here and a few of us from here joined on the same team, so all worked out, but, just so funny and such a fun story.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. You just showed up with a bat and like, "Hey, I'm here, I can hit, and let's go."
Yeah, let's go. I was so nervous, but it was great.
I can only imagine that team that you were on with Mike. Can you go back? Do you remember who was on that team once you did start playing for Mike? And then what comes to mind when you think about those days and those memories of playing travel ball?
Gosh, just like I didn't know how good I had it, just like being around these elite athletes who all want to get better and have the same goals as you, just like felt like my normal, and that is not normal. Like I was playing with um Alyssa Palomino, Folly View, Sydney Romero, Tannin Snow, gosh, who else? Morgan Flores, just so many amazing athletes, especially, like, that first year, because there was kind of a core of us that kind of, like, stayed together, and obviously, we had so many others that joined us throughout the years, but just talk about, like, elite athletes and elite humans with
Yeah.
these high, high goals that it was like all of us we were the same in the way that, like, we went about our work and that we wanted to be the best and we wanted to win every game, like, a showcase versus a tournament, like a real, like, tournament made no difference to us. We wanted to absolutely demolish any other team that was playing against us. It didn't matter, like, the score, what college coaches were in the stands, like, if there was a time to bunt, like, we were gonna bunt. If like, we were just going to execute the best that we can, and I'm so thankful that I was, like, one of the last to kind of probably live that life of just we're not doing certain things just because of who, is coming to watch, like, we were gonna win. And so that was just the best, like, it was so fun just
Sounds
kicking butt and worrying about winning every single game.
so important. Well, knowing you, that hasn't left you at all either. So that was clearly started at a
But
very
I owe that to that group, like, it's so fun. It was so fun.
that's that's how it should be played 100% there. I've always wondered, 'cause in California, it seems like, hey, it's no problem to leave home, to go all the way across the country to Florida to go to school. Growing up in Texas, we didn't leave, right? That you just stayed there. What went through do you remember back then, was that even a question or just like, "Nope, this is what I'm gonna do, and we're gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna go to school in Florida."
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was, like, a big UCLA softball fan, and then also, like, I loved Arizona too, which I know is kind of contradicting, like, their rivals, but I loved it was like all the local kids, like, the really good ones went to UCLA and they went to Arizona, and so that's what I saw and that's what I wanted to do. And UCLA, I grew up about 45 minutes from UCLA, and so got to go to so many games and camps, and I, like, absolutely saw myself, like, in a Bruin uniform, like, before I knew what recruiting was, I was like, "I'm going to UCLA, and I'm gonna play softball, like, I'm just gonna show up and it's all gonna be okay." And then when I was going through the recruiting process, it just getting to know different coaches and schools and finding out, like, what I maybe wanted to major in, and I was really young, so I don't even know that how I had the capacity to think about all these things, but I did, and, I liked watching Florida on TV because they won games and I liked their uniforms, and that was, like, really it. Like, I didn't really know a lot about Florida or the SEC, like, I knew about the Pac-10 at the time, like, that's what I was like, I loved some UCLA softball. So then going through the recruiting process and my first phone call with Coach Walton, I was like, "Oh, like, we clicked." Like, he totally reminded me so much of Mike Stith, and Mike, like, absolutely brought the best out of me. And so I really was just like, he seems like a guy that I would really, really want to play for. And just started doing more research about Florida, and, I knew I probably wanted to stay in softball for as long as possible, and they have just an elite sport management degree. And just so and they just love their female athletes, which is really cool. So and I didn't know all of those things until I really started going through it, and, I really thought I was gonna stay close to home. I'm, like, such a homebody and, didn't really ever do anything on Friday nights. It was like, me and my now husband started dating really young, so we would literally just hang out at either my house or his house and, like, watch Shark Tank with my parents. Like, it wasn't like ever we did things like, I was always going to dinner with my parents and hanging out, so it was kinda weird that I was the one to go on the other side of the country, but I feel like that's why it was so good for me, and then going there on a visit, and it just really felt like that thing that everyone says, like, it feels like home, and it absolutely did. I absolutely loved it my first time on campus, and I'm so thankful because I thought it was gonna be amazing and it was the right decision, but it ended up being, like, way more than that. Like, it was absolutely the best decision of my life was choosing to go be in Gainesville, and, I would still be there if it wasn't for Griffin. I would be there probably forever. I loved it so much.
It is a great college town too that loves their Gators, which, by the way, they're really good this year. I think they're really good.
Oh gosh, it makes me so excited. Obviously game 3 of the Alabama series is tonight, so can't wait to watch, but the first 2 games, gosh, it I've been so proud. Like, it is so awesome to see, especially the freshmen, like, come in and totally play like vets. Like, playing at the Rhodes House in Tuscaloosa is not easy. It's not easy for a senior to handle those emotions. It's not easy as an adult, as a coach, I remember my heart racing the same as a coach playing, like, in Tuscaloosa as an athlete. Like, the fans are loud and sometimes can be a little hostile, and, like, it's kind of a crazy place to play at, which it's so great, like, don't get me wrong, but it's intimidating, right? Especially for freshmen, and to see Keegan Rothrock and Ava Brown compete the way that they've competed, like, especially in Tuscaloosa. Wow, I'm so thankful that they are Gators, and I am so excited that we get 4 whole years of them because, wow, like, that's really, really exciting to show that poise, and fire right away.
It's im it's impressive. And
Yeah.
I was looking at the offense of knowing some of those players, like when Jossie Erickson transferred and Corby Otis, those are 2 players that have played in our all-star games. I'm like, this lineup is insane. It's so good. So I wasn't surprised. I'm not surprised. I had them. I circled them like they are so underrated right now, and with those
Love
two
it.
freshmen, but they pitched in big games, growing up. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm over here tooting the Gators' horn. I think you guys are
love
gonna be
it.
good.
Get on the train.
I okay, going tangent there, going back, because you just recently got married, which congratulations, and it was absolutely gorgeous following along on
Thank
on Instagram. But how did you and Griffin meet? How old were you guys? And what's that story of when y'all first met?
Well, we met probably in, like, 5th grade, like, officially. I don't think we went to school at the same time in preschool, but we have some, like, preschool graduation photos where we're both in the frame, but, we became friends in 5th grade, so, it's been a long time and, started dating our sophomore year of high school. So we've been together forever. I don't really remember a time of, like, before we were together. It always felt like I had him next to me, which is such a blessing.
That's awesome. What's now you're living the life of a baseball wife. What is that like of being in the stands? And do you offer coaching advice to him, or are you more just being the supportive wife?
Um, Sometimes I will say something and then I realize, like, if he had said something like that to me while I'm coaching, I would have been so annoyed and I would have been, like, so mad at him. So 99% of the time, I'm just supportive and in an ear, but, like, I get super nervous in the stands most of the time, like, definitely give reactions at times, but, it's been so fun, and, like, I feel like it's really fun to be, bought in on a different level and just, like, get to witness certain things that they do and keep learning, so I'm still around the game, which is so fun, but, um, there was something where, like, they couldn't close out a game, and I'm like, "Let's go, like, do we need harder runs? Like, what do we need here?" And he was like, "We already do that." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Should have known not to say that because I would have been so annoyed if you tried anything like that at me." And I was like, "Yep, noted." Like that I shouldn't have said that. So but I'm just competitive, so like I'll just say things, but for the most part I'm just supportive and it's so fun to support his team and watch and just see him learn and blossom.
Good for you, because it's really hard to turn that off of the competitiveness. So good for you of being in the stands, supportive.
Thank you, thank you. It's really not like in the game, I'm like, "Oh," like, I, like, do things, like, in the moment, but then, like, when I get home, like and they're winning, so it's really easy right now. Like, they keep winning, then it's easy for me not to be, like, get kinda crazy and competitive, but so I really like winning, I'm really good at winning. It's when the losing happens that it's like, I really like, it's then you can say, "Good job, Amanda," if I'm holding back and keeping my emotions in check, because that's when it's hard for me, like, the winning is easy, like, I like that, I'm used to that. You know, I'm a really good winner, but the losing is like, whew, it's tough.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because I love talking hitting and speaking about mindset and being competitive with you and knowing too of just listeners. Can you take us, let's take that mindset inside the box with you. What does that look like as you're getting ready to go into the box and when you're in the box? What's going on in Amanda Lorenz's head as a hitter?
Yeah, I think we talk about the confidence piece, a lot, and, you know, it's really easy to just say, like, "I'm really confident," or "You should be confident," but it's not an easy thing to fake, so how do we get that confidence? How do we obtain it? So, mine comes down to preparation, so if I know that I have taken care of the things that I need to take care of that week and, I know that I checked my boxes and did what I know that I need to do in order to be successful, then that type of confidence that gives me, like, I know I don't care who's on the mound. Like, when I go in, I'm like, "I worked harder than you that week. I'm prepared. If you throw me the best pitch of your life, I'm gonna be able to hit it with authority." And, like, I fully believed that. Like, there was never a time that I was saying that to myself that I was like, "Oh, you're lying. Like, you don't actually believe that." So, I was just pumping myself up with real confidence and going in there knowing, like, I don't care about her, I care about me. and I know that I'm prepared for anything she has to throw me.
What does preparation look like? Even now as a professional hitter, professional athlete, what does preparation look like in practice? What does it look like in pregame?
Yeah, I think, like, going back to my college days, it was every day I was, hitting, like, I didn't take days off of my swing and took that really seriously. Love the tee. The tee is everything to me, so I know that when I can control the controllables and I can control how my body feels on all of these pitches and locations and heights, then I'm ready for the ball to move too, right? So if I can't own my swing and own my process and be consistent 100% of the time off of the tee, then how do I expect myself to be consistent when the ball is moving, right? Like, the pitcher is practicing to get me out as well. She practices and she has some stuff too. So if I can't own it when the ball is not moving, how do I expect myself to own it if she's trying to get me out? So I like to take it in steps of owning it on the tee, and then once that I feel like I've mastered that, where I can put a ball on the tee and hit it in the same spot 10 out of 10 times, then I'm ready for the next. So I like to set myself up for that way, and I take my time, off of the tee and then get some front toss and live and all the things. But truly, the tee has been the staple of my whole career of being able to control my body and know what it does on certain pitches and locations. And so the tee has been a ride or die for me for as since I started the game.
I love that too because that's something you can control, right? It's hard in softball sometimes. Like I gotta go find a pitcher or somebody throw me front toss. But if I have a tee, I can do that on my own. What would you tell? Because you were big on feel and body awareness. What would you tell a young hitter? Like how do they start recognizing that? How do they pay attention to body awareness? Or what are some things that they can do as a young hitter?
Yeah, I think just ask questions. So like whether it's your coaches or your parents like watching you hit, like just when they see something, like you want to pay attention to what you're doing, but also like how you're feeling. So like getting in front of the mirror and just like practicing your load and seeing what that separation looks like and just like attaching like what it looks like to what it feels like is huge just to know of your your coach is saying like, "Oh, your hands are going a little further back than normal or they're not moving as much." And it's like, "Oh, like now that you said that, I know exactly what it's supposed to feel like. It doesn't feel like that. Let me get in front of the mirror and match my feel to what I want it to look like." But you can't just make that up, right? Like we need that's where the consistency piece comes in. That's why I love the tea because if I'm doing something over and over and over and over and over, then I'm going to understand like a muscle memory of what my body feels like on an outside pitch. So when something goes wrong, and something's not right, I can look at video and look at myself in the mirror and know and match that feel to what it looks like too.
I want to ask this in the right way. You're somebody you hit over 400 in college in your career. You've been, which by the way, this is going on your sixth professional season. I don't think you're old enough to play six pro seasons yet, but you're
Getting
somebody
up there.
that. What does it look like? You've had success as a hitter. Are you still working to get better? Are you working to maintain? What's going through your mind? What do you want to achieve as a hitter as you're working through things?
Yeah, I think I'm always trying to be as consistent as possible. So I don't know that I'm like changing a certain goal. Like I want to get a hit every time. I want to hit 1,000. I never want to get out, right? Like I'm never going to obtain that because that's just not possible. But in my mind, like I'm going up, never thinking I'm going to get out. Like I'm going up to the plate every time, believing that I'm going to get a hit. So I think the thing that's changed probably the most is in college, you kind of have blinders on. Like there's so much going on that you can't necessarily learn as much, at least during my time. I didn't have the capacity to learn as much from my teammates because I was just so, like, locked in on my process and, like, what I needed to do, X, Y, and Z, and then I need to lift, and then I need to hit, and then I need to eat, and then, like, all these things, like, I didn't have the capacity to learn from others, and now in the pro space, it's like nothing anybody does is gonna mess with my process. Like, I don't have to have blinders on because this is what I do, and I can do it, and I can breathe and actually, like, soak other things in, like, as I'm getting after my process, and that has been so fun to learn from other pros and just not necessarily like, certain things I can absolutely try and take and like add to my process and add to like my warm up routine or other things. But then also like, especially when I was still coaching at Florida, like learning from all these different amazing, amazing hitters, and we're all so different. Like we do things so much differently and have different approaches and think of the game differently. And so, wow, like, did that help me so much when I would go back to Florida and look at and like, oh, like you remind me of Jesse Warren. Like Jesse, I remember like my first time with the Pride with Jesse and Alex Powers from Florida State. Like we were kind of just talking softball, and they were like, "Okay, so what's your plan, like, when you go up?" And I'm like, "See ball, hit ball. Like, I wanna hit the ball hard." And they were like, "Yeah, but, like, what are you looking for?" And I'm like, "A strike." Like, "Y yes, a ball on the plate." And they were like, "Well, you're not looking for, like, a certain side of the plate or a certain pitch?" And I was like, "No, like, see ball, hit ball. Like, that's what I'm trying to do." And they were like, That's crazy. Like, that's weird." Jesse was like, "If I don't have a very specific plan, I don't know how to compete up there." And I'm like, "Wow." Like, she's like, "I will split the plate. I will." And like every time you see Jessie up to the plate, her body might look different. And it is amazing because she like has such a specific plan that she's 100% bought into, that she's going to adjust her body, adjust her position in the box, or she's completely selling out to this plan unless she can't, right? Unless it's two strikes and she kind of has to adjust, which she does an amazing job at as well. But it was so fun for me to just learn from others and just the different ways that they do things, and then take that back to hitters at Florida or even like some lessons or camps of just like, this is a way that you could do it instead of just having my blinders on of like, see ball, hit ball, everyone. Like, that doesn't work for everybody. And that's the best part about hitting, right? Like, so many people do different things, and that's what's so fun.
Such a great lesson for coaches too, understanding that they're gonna have different hitters and doesn't all it's not cookie cutter, right? Doesn't work the same with all
No.
I think some of
Yeah.
my best memories were literally in the dugout in the pro games of just listening to what other hitters are talking about. I got the pleasure of, I played with Rachel Folden, who was just this
Mm,
brilliant mind and hitter, and it was so cool, like, to keep learning. I love those stories.
so cool.
I wanna NIL wasn't necessarily a thing when you were a college athlete, but now you're representing different brands. What does that mean for you, especially being a female athlete these days? And you've got some really big ones too with Adidas and with Marucci and seeing what they're doing for female athletes. What does that mean for you to represent those brands?
I just feel like overwhelmingly thankful that they see something in me that they want to invest in me and our sport and help them and me get better along the way. Because not only do we share feedback and help them get better on the softball side, but I mean they're absolutely supporting me and still competing and still making this my life. Because without them it would be really hard to devote time to training and all the things because they support me financially. So just so thankful for them seeing something in me in our sport and wanting to keep invest and see the what I can provide to them. So it's just so cool and just continuing to do good by them and prove that we're worth it and prove that they can see a return on their investment is only going to make the next generation more profitable of seeing like, hey, we saw her, and her do it, and they did great, and we saw a return on our investment, and wow, it was so fun to watch them. We want to now invest in three more athletes. So I think just continuing to push the envelope for more and just also like, especially with NIL, I think we might just be chasing dollar amounts, which yeah, we should get what we deserve, but there's a relationship piece as well that you really should value, and I cannot say enough about the way that I am treated by Adidas and Marucci. Like, when I went to Marucci for the first time after I had signed, and their head glove guy who goes by Glove Cowboy had 20 pieces of paper laid out that he had designed all of these potential gloves for me online just to give me ideas of the things that they're able to do. And not only that, like, he went as far as to edit them and make them lefty gloves, and the gloves that he had seen me use before, personalized with my name, sunflower gloves because they knew what the sunflower meant to me from my time at Florida. So just, like, going the extra mile of, like, I remember just, like, seeing gloves on the table and thinking, "Oh, cool," and then I got closer and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, he made these for me, like, wow, like, that's so cool just for a company to take the extra time to do something like that to make me feel special and give me ideas, and I felt really important and like, they really valued that I was gonna be a part of their team, and gosh, that's so cool to have that relationship piece of just, where they're working for me and I'm working for them, which is just really cool. I'm just so thankful because I've had such a great experience with my sponsors.
I think that's a good point too of it's business, right? They're working for me, I'm working for you. And nowadays with NIL, some of it is starting in high school, right? And it's a really big part of college softball. Whether we love it, hate it, good, bad, it's there. What would you tell a young athlete, softball player who's now like, okay, I got to get NIL deals and I got to do this. What would your advice be to softball players when it comes to NIL?
My advice would be you still need to choose the school that is the best for you, no matter take NIL out of it. Say they banned it tomorrow. Like, are you still going to be happy at that school? Is it still going to fulfill you the way that you want it to be, that you want to be fulfilled? Before the question used to be like, hey, would you still love this coach if your college coach left? Right. And now it's like, it does that. I feel like I never even hear that question anymore. It's all about the money and the NIL deals. But it's way harder getting these deals post college than in college, right? Like the platforms that these athletes have at these schools and the amount of time that they're on ESPN and just it's a lot, right? And I feel like we're probably in for a little bit of a awakening when we hit the pro space. Like they're not investing in us the same way that they're investing in these college athletes, right? So my advice would just be, "Hey, amazing, take advantage of everything that you can." But number 1 should be like, do you love the place you're at? Like, you should really love the place that you're at and see yourself being like, I see myself a Gator for life. Like, I would not have changed anything about my experience. And would you guys feel like that if the NIL piece was taken out of it? If you do, amazing. Like, take all the deals, do all the things, do not get taken advantage of. Know your worth, but also I feel like that's a secondary thing, right? Like, you need to handle your grades and make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do for your team before you can handle all of those things. So I think it's a lot to juggle. My advice would be like, take care of the things that really, really matter first. And then NIL money should just absolutely be fun money in your savings. Live it up. But you should love the place that you're at, number 1.
That is good. But that is I'm interested of what's gonna happen. It's just a different world, right? Especially the senior class right now. They're making money. And there's a lot of really, really good players. And unfortunately, right now, not that it's necessarily a step down or back, but just the finances are a little bit
Oh,
different.
but kinda.
Like,
Yeah.
what is this summer? What's this gonna look like? I'm interested. What do you think?
Yeah, I really hope like it also it can be a positive and a negative, right? Like they could come up and then get these offers from these companies of hey, we're gonna sponsor you for $3,000 and be like, what? Like I am not doing any work for you for $3,000, right? Like I will buy my own bat and my own gloves. Like I'm not, which also like might wake these companies up a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, like okay, we can't get X, Y, and Z who we really, really want on our team. Like, do we need to kind of change or are they just gonna be like, we're okay with it? So I think it's gonna be like a big because we have some ginormous names coming out of the college scene this year, which I'm so excited. I hope they all play forever. And keep playing the game and keep growing it because wow, that it's a really special class that's graduating. And I think they're just going to demand more, which is really exciting for our sport because I think the pro space, we've kind of stayed here for a while, maybe have made like a little bit some dips of just the way that we've been compensated in relation to brands and just that kind of support. So it will be interesting to see the way that they kind of shake up the space because of the money that they have been getting and the names that they are. Like they have
Yeah.
incredible careers to back it up. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting and exciting.
Yeah. I'm with you. There is a lot of big names, and collectively now there's big names, big followings with
Mhm.
pros that have big names, big following. So plus
Yep.
2028 is not that far. So I too, I'm excited. It's just like, wow, this is a new world that we're going to watch change here quickly. I saw a story, and I want to get your perspective on. I saw you post about Adidas and being able to surprise your high school with cleats. Can you share that story and what that meant for you?
Yeah, Adidas is just amazing, and it does they do the same thing for me, Aaliyah, and Sis. We are given, X amount of dollars that we can, create some cool stuff with and basically do things like this, and my agent, Leslie Feldman, was like, "Hey, you still have X amount of money, like, do you wanna do something with it? Like, let's maybe like, would you wanna give cleats to your high school?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, of course, like, that sounds amazing." And, the head coach at Moore Park High School is Megan Stotts, who, formerly known as Megan Finnerty, played softball at Arizona. And so she was my hitting coach from the time I was 6 years old, and, I had the best times with Megan. She was just such a big support for me and example of just, like, from Moore Park, and was able to play at Arizona and do really cool things. So, I've always wanted to do something for that program, just especially for Megan too, just because I just love her so much and what she's done for me. So it was really cool. Just asked Adidas if I could get these cleats in these sizes. They said, amazing. We'll send them right away. Sent them right away. The girls were so excited. Got some cool like shoes for the staff as well. Just um never forgetting like where I came from. And I would have absolutely done it for the Batbusters too, but they're so big time. They have their own deals going on. So not needed for them. But yeah, no, it was so cool. The girls were really thankful, which made me really happy, and just cool to see they have some girls going to some big schools, and which there weren't that many of us growing up that went to big places. So just cool to see the program grow, and put and let them know, like, I was in their shoes, and look what I've been able to do because of this game, and loving the game, and playing it the right way. So, hopefully just giving them a little extra motivation too.
I love that. I think that's aspirational too. If I get to see a former player come back and have a big brand like Adidas behind her and the ability to get free product, it's really powerful. So
It's
that's
wild. Definitely
cool.
a pinch me moment for sure.
Well, I know you're if you're not still on the player executive committee, I know you have been a part of the leadership with Athletes Unlimited. Can you what does that look like? And what are you guys doing right now as you're prepping for the professional season with AU?
Yeah, so I had, like, the absolute privilege of being on the player executive committee, and for those of you guys that don't know, like, Athletes Unlimited is a player-ran league, so the PECs are the ones deciding, what athletes are going to be competing, for that year, and beyond, making some pretty crazy decisions in regards to the league. So that was really fun just to learn, and then like still be able to be so involved in the college game of identifying the draftees and who we really want a part of the league. So I imagine that the PEC now is getting together what this summer is going to look like, because there's X amount of numbers at each position that they need to fill. And so I think we would usually, like, get together, like, our must-have returners, figure out our we really wanna draft these people, and then we kind of fill in the roster as we see fit. But it's just really cool and fun to, put together the pieces of a very elite group.
It is an elite group. What do you Here's somebody I feel like we've nerded out about professional softball, and I've always been super passionate about just providing more opportunities. What do you want to see? Especially like we talked about with not only this class, but just where our game is at. There's so many great players that are coming through. What do you want to see with the growth of professional softball?
Yeah, I wanna see, a league that lasts a little bit longer than 3 months, that we can all, like, be on a specific team and compete for a championship. And then have Athletes Unlimited kind of after that to be kind of more, fun, super competitive, fast, where every moment counts in these 6 weeks. And I love AU so much, and I've learned so much, but don't get me wrong, like, I really miss the team aspect. Like, I'm so thankful that the last couple summers I've had the opportunity to be with Team USA and kind of be with a group, and try to get to a common goal and achieve something. But there's nothing like grinding with a team for a championship, and grinding through games and the hard times, and like AU, there's so much turnover and fast. Like, you're on a team for a few days and then you're on another one, and it's like so fun. But I do miss the like real team of like that long grind. So I really, really hope that eventually we're going to see a sustainable league that's in there for a long time, where now all of us can say we don't have side jobs. Like, our job is specifically a professional softball player. We play on this team for 4 or 5 months out of the year, and then we go to AU and we're there for 6 weeks and have a great time. So I would love if it could be our only source of income was playing softball, and then hopefully getting some sponsorships along the way to help us as well. But I would love that. For we have so much talent, and because there's not as many opportunities, it just becomes like our numbers are dwindling, and the college game just keeps growing and growing. And I just want more and more opportunities for these amazing athletes.
Likewise. Likewise. I heard a story. You mentioned Team USA. We have Olympics coming up in 2028. I heard a story that your old Batbuster coach, Mike Stith, called you and said he's training a player to take your spot. Can you tell your
He
side
did.
of that story?
No, he did say that. He said, "She's gonna be really good." And I was like, "Amazing. Like, I hope she's better than me." He's like, "Well, she's gonna take your spot." And, like, he always knows how to motivate me. And, like, 5 years ago, that probably would have really pissed me off that, like, he said that. And now I'm like, "You know what? I hope she does. I hope she comes in here and plays so hard." And I'm like, "There are multiple spots in the outfield, babe. Like, we can be better together." So, like, I like, 5 years ago, it would have really gotten under my skin, but now I know he's just trying to motivate me. And also, like, she's a Gator, so you know what? It's okay. So, at least if he said it about another kid that's, like, going for another school, then it would maybe hurt a little bit more. But now I'm like, "You know what? If I'm gonna lose, at least I lose to a Gator." But I'm not planning on losing. I'm just kidding. I don't know how many years I have left in me, but no, he's the greatest, and I'm excited to we're talking about Taylor Schumacher. That's
Yes.
who he was talking about. So, which he
Uh,
might not even want us saying, because then, like, he doesn't usually say nice things about his players to their faces. It's just you hear about it around. I'm like, my first individual at Florida, I'm like, "I got told good job 3 times today." Like, that didn't happen in my whole career with Mike Stitt. That's my coach. Like, so it's just funny things like that. But yeah, he's a character.
That's hilarious. I knew your side of it would be great, and that I needed to hear that part. And I think we just heard it too, right? 4 more years at least. Amanda, Olympics is
Yeah.
back in LA in 2028. So you're gonna keep playing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I really hope so. We're gonna see, like, how my body holds up. I just want the best team, best athletes possible, and if that means, and I'm gonna hopefully do everything in my power to make sure that I'm one of those. But I just want the best athletes that we have possible, so that we can win gold on our home soil. But, like, I mean, I'm from kind of the LA area, so how cool would it be to be in kind of my home place of my home state, and competing for my country, and to see my family in the stands would be just an absolute dream come true. And so we'll see how many years I have left in me, and just so excited for us to compete and have another opportunity to prove that we should be in every Summer Olympics.
I love it. Speaking of, so I'm gonna end here with just some like quick questions, rapid fire questions. Might put you on the spot for a little bit. So it's 2024. I wish we were in the Olympics this summer. So let's
Me too.
pretend if we were,
Yeah.
who's your starting battery for USA?
Oh, oh gosh. Ali Carta and Deja Mulapula.
Love it. What about who's leading off?
Haley McClenny.
Okay. I just it's just crazy, right? Of like where we could be. I was thinking about that of what this 2024 team would look like. So, but let's get in 28 and let's stay in there for a while.
Yeah, and I feel like we could still be having the conversation about those 3 in 2028. I think that they have that many years left in them too. So we'll
I
see.
agree.
But it's exciting. It's so exciting that it's such a hard choice, right? Like, we have so many amazing pro athletes out there that keep playing and keep getting better, and, like, so many options. Like, um in AU, I know like Gwen Svekis is such an elite pitch caller at AU, and just competing against her is really hard. So there's just so many possibilities of the athletes that we can choose from.
Sorry, I totally put you on the spot there, but
No, hey, okay.
that'd be fun. Okay, let's go college hitters. And you can say a Gator, I guess, if you want, but who's your favorite hitter to watch in the college game right now? You can give a couple if you want to answer more than one.
Yeah, I probably would want to give a couple. I Jada Coleman is awesome. I really enjoy watching her hit. I think she stays in the zone for a really long time and can kind of spray the ball wherever she wants. So I love that. Super fun to watch Skylar Wallace, obviously, with just play in general, with the way that she's able to run, and then the power that she's able to have, like, is so fun to watch. Like yesterday in the Alabama game, she kind of she was on second base, had to pause, the shortstop almost snagged the line drive, goes to left field. Left fielder has the ball. She's not hasn't touched third yet. And Coach Walton's sending her. I'm like, you can't send to anybody else but Skylar. Like, and she was safe. Like, it wasn't even that close. And the left fielder had the ball 2 or 3 steps before Skylar touched third, which is like that's pretty unheard of. So she's so fun to watch and run the bases. I know the hitting is the question, but trying to think of a righty, but I'm so lefty biased. Oh, I love Maya Brady, another lefty. Maya Brady as well.
And Bat Buster.
Yeah, which so much bias there, but she's so great. She deserves it.
I watched yesterday's Skylar too, same thing when she got the double. But it like she hit the ball. I think the center fielder made like 2 steps over to her left, and Skylar never hesitated, never, and it was an
Huh.
easy stand up double. I'm like, that shouldn't be
Yeah.
that easy.
Oh, 100%. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I right away when I saw like where the center fielder was, I was like, double. It's like it's like double. Doesn't matter. I was like, maybe even could have been a triple. Like she's so fast. It's crazy.
She is good. Um, what's your number one go to drill if you are ever in a slump, which probably didn't happen very often? But what's your number one go to drill that you do?
I'm not a huge drill person, but the tee is everything to me. So I don't know if that counts as a drill, but just moving it around to different locations and owning parts of the plate is huge for me. So that's a staple. And if I'm not performing as well, I hate the word slump. So if I'm not performing the way that I would like to, then I just spend more time on the tee. But really, that's been the source of everything for me.
The one we could do a whole segment probably on Coach Walton as well. What's one of your favorite Coach Walton, whether it's a quote or just memory of Coach Walton?
Oh, I say this a lot, but he notices everything. Like I feel like he has eyes in the back of his head. Um, when I was on staff with him, we had a meeting in his office, and his office overlooks the field, and he he wasn't even looking at the field. Like, I feel like maybe like 20% of his head was like towards his windows, and he's like, those are game bases, like those should be the those are the wrong bases, like they put out the wrong bases, those should be practice bases. Can someone send a message down? And it's like the managers like grabbed the wrong base, and he noticed that it was the too bright white, like, or he's noticed the sticker on the side, like, and he wasn't even looking, like, he just notices every little thing. And it's just crazy. Like, I've said this before, like, really, really all head coaches, but even the most elite ones, they're all psycho. They're all crazy. And they have to be, like, they have to be, but they're a different level of crazy psycho, and their attention to detail, and the things that they care about is just second to none. Like, he will never walk by a piece of trash. He's always picking up, like, things, like, he always just notices everything. So, just a good example of no job is too small for the head coach. Like, he does all the dirty work too.
I was gonna say that translates clearly, and even just the attention to detail. If you can do it in the bases, just amplify it across the board of what he's doing with his players. But I'm gonna quote that all great coaches are psycho.
Oh,
Amanda
they
Lorenz.
are. Yeah.
You're not
They
wrong.
are. And like
You're not wrong.
they'll own it. Like they have to be. Like that's a different level of just all the things that they have to juggle and pay attention to and just like that will to win for so many years. Like,
Yeah,
like we compete for 4 years in college. Like it's really easy to be that competitive for 4 years. Like I saw on TV last night, like Coach Walton's in his 19th year at Florida. Like that's a long time. Like, how do you stay psycho crazy about winning for that many years? Like, that's exhausting, but they do it.
they do it. Have you listened to his podcast yet?
I just listened to the one with Coach Kendria.
So
Just
good.
so cool. I remember I like called him. I was like, how cool. Like, I also feel, and I've been pretty vocal about this, but I feel like most people, like, if you aren't in Coach Walton's like circle, you don't know how he is as a human. Like, I feel like he doesn't give access to people that like aren't in his circle or like the media. Like I feel like they don't necessarily maybe even like him from like interviews because he just gives bare minimum and isn't like that personable on that aspect, and I'm like, "He's funny." Like, he's funny. He has a really good personality. Like, he's a jokester. He likes to do fun things, and I feel like everybody doesn't know that about him, and so I'm, like, loving the fact that he's, like, doing something that might be a little bit out of his comfort zone and just, like, sharing with the softball community of just what makes him tick and talking with others, and I just think it's so cool, for others to learn more about him, but, like, he's funny. And he's super fun to be around, and I mean, obviously, I'm, like, his number 1 biggest fan, but, I was really excited about it.
It's cool. I sat and binge listened to it yesterday. But when you have these greats talking to each other and sharing stories, so I
Oh,
highly encourage. But I listened to him and Coach Inquist and him and Coach Candrea, and I'm like, this is amazing. I love the access, like you said.
yes.
It's really good.
Yeah, the access is huge, and, I mean, he touched on it with Coach Kendra of just that he was a young coach and saw Coach Kendrea's number on the inside of a like demo, like one of his hitting videos and gave him a call and Coach Kendra answered and talked to him for like 45 minutes to an hour. And just like that access was obviously everything for coach at hit like during his young career. So giving that access to other just coaches and softball minds is just awesome. Being able to
It's
learn
cool.
from the best of the best is that doesn't get you fired up. I don't know what does.
It got me fired up. Also, can you imagine like, hey, here's a phone number on a VHS that I'm gonna call it and answer.
Yeah, having the
It's
guts to call,
great. Yeah.
like, call I'd be, like, calling, like, hoping I get an answering machine, like, maybe he'll call me back if he has time.
So true. I do the same.
So
Do the
cool.
same. Speaking of podcasts, you're co-hosting a podcast. What have you learned so far that like shocked you that maybe you weren't expecting?
Yeah, I think that, it's been so fun. So for those of you who don't know, I co-host with Jenna Becerra on the D1 Softball Podcast, and we do, 1 episode a week, just kind of talking about the previous weekend and maybe highlighting some big matchups that we're excited for. So, and I mean, I've always been like such a softball lover and I watch all the games. But I think like it's forcing me to pay attention a little bit more, just making sure that I know the things about the teams that we're going to talk about. And, I'm learning and it's, even like our first thing with NCAA softball, like I said, like talking about the Gators, I'm like, we like us, like, because, that's been my life forever. Like the Gators, so just learning to the Gators and they, and that was, like, a big thing, but no, it's been really fun to, like, learn and make sure I have my notes ready and ask good questions when we have guests, but it's really natural for me to just talk about the game, and I love it, so talking about high level softball is just super fun. But my favorite part has probably been, like, going to Clearwater and getting to interview some of these athletes and getting to know a little bit more about them instead of just watching them on TV and the way that they compete, like highlighting them and wanting them to talk more about what makes them them. Because that was like one of my main things coming in. I'm like, these athletes, especially with social media, like they have really good personalities. Like, how can we showcase them and showcase like how cool they are, but how cool they are off of the fields too, So that's been really fun just to get to know them a little bit and have some guests and learn.
Has there been one moment or one interview that really stood out and something you learned about an athlete?
Ooh, so I've gotten to interview Nigel Candy from Stanford twice now. Interviewed her in Clearwater, and then we had her on as a guest on the podcast. And I asked her if she's facing a team's best hitter, and their like strength is actually her strength as well. So her best pitch is the pitch that this really good hitter loves to hit. Like, are you going to still go with your best pitch, or are you going to adjust your plan based off of her and her spray chart? And she said, so her and her pitching coach at Stanford, they talk about as a staff that your best is better. So regardless of what it is, like you are going to go with your best, because if we're going to lose, we're losing with our best. Like we are not going to lose with our second best. And I loved it so much. Like your strength is your strength for a reason. And we talk about that in hitting a lot. But to hear a pitcher say it too, like it fired me up. And the way that she replied with, this is what we do as a staff here at Stanford. Like I totally posed it in the question of like, what is Nyjah doing in this moment? Because, she has the luxury of her second best is still an elite
But
pitch.
yeah,
So it's like kind of where she can kind of toy around with things. And she immediately went back to her staff and her team and what they believe as a program, which gave me goosebumps and just is so cool. Talk about like this amazing, amazing pitcher ahead of you. And like you're thinking you're the number 2, number 3 pitcher on the staff, and she's talking about you guys all as a whole. Like that's a leader. And I every answer was that way as well. And like you expect that too from a Stanford kid, like just so smart, like so well spoken. Like it was just really fun to hear her talk, and then just to hear her talk about her teammates. Like she was constantly giving praise to her teammates and their program and the way that they do things. So that was really fun.
that's fun. I think what's so fun about that too is you in this like elite competitive hitter asking that question and getting the response. I actually watched it and your reaction also is fantastic. Like that's elite hitter, elite pitcher talking and sharing in that. It was pretty cool. So I definitely I would encourage anybody to go listen and check you out throughout the season too.
Yes.
I mean, thanks for hanging out with us. I always love
Gosh,
sharing
thanks
time
for
with
having
you.
me.
And it from your youth days to your college days to now your professional days, just love hearing your stories. And now we will always know that you accidentally went to the wrong Fatbuster tryout, but it turned out for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It did. It was just crazy.
Well, thank you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, we hope you're enjoying the Car Ride Home podcast. Hopefully, we're filling the air and making your car ride home a little bit more enjoyable. Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, and leave us a review. If you have any special guest or requests that you'd like to hear or have us bring a guest or a story onto the podcast, shoot us an email, info@thealliancefastpitch.com. We'd love to hear from you.